A wave of new Social Security legislation has just landed in Washington, and it's already creating major conversations across the country because these proposals could directly impact the monthly income of millions of Americans. If you collect retirement benefits, SSI, SSDI, survivor's benefits, or any form of fixed income from the Social Security Administration, what is happening right now matters to you in a very real way. Lawmakers are pushing forward bills that aim to increase payments, expand eligibility, and strengthen financial support for the people who depend on these programs the most. Seniors who have spent their entire lives working and contributing into the system are now watching every headline closely as they face higher food prices, rising rent, soaring medical costs, and inflation that continues to squeeze fixed budgets. For many Americans, Social Security isn't extra money, it's survival. Welcome back to Truth Lens, where we break down the biggest national updates in a clear and direct way, so you know exactly what's going on behind the headlines. Today's report is especially important for seniors across America who are struggling to make ends meet, those on Social Security who have been asking for relief, and the millions who feel the monthly pressure of having just enough to get by, or sometimes not enough at all. This moment is significant because the bills being introduced right now could shape the financial future of older Americans for years to come. And with so many seniors relying on Social Security for more than half of their income, these changes could determine whether they can stay afloat during what should be their retirement years. One of the biggest pieces of legislation gathering attention is a new bill focused on widowed and surviving divorced spouses. For decades, surviving spouses have faced outdated restrictions that limit their ability to receive the full benefits owed to them. This new bill, introduced only days ago, aims to expand Social Security payments for over 1 million people by removing those old caps. Under this legislation, widowed and surviving divorced spouses with disabilities would be eligible to receive 100% of their survivor benefits, regardless of age. The proposal also strengthens child and care benefits, helping families where a surviving parent is still responsible for raising children. Senior groups, labor organizations, and advocacy networks are lining up behind this bill, calling it overdue and essential for families who have lost loved ones. A second bill adds even more momentum to the conversation. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and several co-sponsors are pushing for new Social Security expansions designed to strengthen financial stability for older Americans who are dealing with rapidly rising costs. She has emphasized that seniors have paid into the system their entire working lives and deserve to retire with dignity, not spend their final years counting every dollar to see whether groceries or prescriptions can fit into the budget. This legislation aims to correct benefit caps, simplify confusing rules, and ensure people receive the full amounts they've earned. As the cost of living climbs and inflation continues to hit older Americans harder than most, this bill is positioned as a lifeline during a time when many retirees feel financially stretched thin. Beyond those targeted changes, another major proposal is generating even more national attention: an across-the-board $200 monthly increase for every Social Security recipient. This would apply to retirement beneficiaries, SSI, SSDI, survivors, and even veterans using Social Security-linked programs. The bill, introduced by multiple senators, is designed to help the country's most vulnerable keep up with inflation, rising medical bills, and the basic cost of living. Seniors have been calling for a substantial boost for years, and with inflation still eating into purchasing power, millions believe this increase is not just helpful, but necessary. Even though cost of living adjustments rise annually, the percentage increase barely makes a dent for those whose monthly checks are already low. For a senior living on $1,200 a month, a 2.8% COLA barely covers a few weeks of groceries, not the increasing demands of utilities, rent, medication, and household necessities. This new $200 Social Security bill is separate from the well-known Social Security Expansion Act introduced by Bernie Sanders in previous years. The new bill aims to provide fast, direct financial relief until mid-2026. Supporters argue that the rise in inflation has created an emergency situation, especially for people on fixed incomes. In statements to the press, senators have emphasized that rising prices are pushing seniors to the breaking point, and many have to choose between buying food and paying for medical care. At a time when Americans are experiencing the highest cost of living pressures in decades, lawmakers say the government must step up and honor its commitment to retirees who spent a lifetime funding the Social Security program through payroll taxes. Inflation continues to play a central role in this entire debate. The cost of living adjustment for 2026 has been officially set at 2.8%, and while any increase sounds helpful on paper, seniors across the country are saying it is nowhere near enough, especially when the average increase amounts to around $56 for retirees, an amount many will lose immediately due to rising Medicare premiums. Seniors relying on Social Security alone often have little additional savings, and even those who worked steady jobs for decades find themselves struggling to keep up with basic needs. Food costs, housing, utilities, and transportation have all risen faster than Social Security payments, leaving many older Americans with no cushion at all. Every month, countless seniors are forced to stretch a fixed income across rising expenses, and many say their benefits lose buying power every single year. One of the most important updates for seniors is the change to how the COLA could be calculated in the future. The current formula uses the CPI-W, an index based on younger urban workers whose spending habits don't match those of retirees. Lawmakers are now pushing for a shift to the CPIE, which measures inflation for people aged 62 and older. This would better reflect the real-world expenses seniors face, especially healthcare, which rises much faster than general inflation. Advocates have long argued that aligning COLA with senior costs would give retirees fairer increases that more accurately match the financial reality they live with. Moving to CPIE could significantly improve long-term benefit growth for seniors across America. Meanwhile, millions of Americans are now watching their mailboxes as the Social Security Administration begins sending out 2026 benefit notices. These notices will show exactly how much each recipient's monthly payment will increase next year, including deductions and adjusted amounts. For those who check their accounts online through My Social Security, many have already seen their updated numbers. This announcement affects over 75 million Americans who rely on Social Security benefits as a core part of their monthly budgets. The COLA is designed to help maintain buying power during inflationary periods, but many seniors say the increases are not keeping pace with the real cost of survival in today's economy. Individuals on SSI will see the 2026 increase slightly earlier due to the traditional calendar shift. Since the SSA does not send payments on weekends or federal holidays, next year's January SSI payment will arrive on December 31st. That means millions of SSI recipients will receive 2 payments in December and start the new year with their updated benefit amount already reflected. For many seniors and individuals with disabilities, even a small change in monthly income affects rent, food, medication, or transportation. Yet, despite the updated COLA, many SSI recipients are still calling for larger structural changes, saying the program does not reflect modern living costs. New concerns also continue to rise about Medicare premium increases for 2026. While Medicare Part A remains premium-free for most Americans, Part B premiums are climbing sharply, nearly a 10% increase. This jump often cancels out a large portion of Social Security's COLA for dual enrollees. Seniors living on low, fixed incomes often feel the sting of these changes the hardest, and for many, it becomes a monthly calculation of what the new budget can or cannot cover. With medical expenses rising faster than inflation, healthcare remains one of the biggest pressures facing retirees nationwide. Amid these challenges, another looming issue casts a larger shadow: the long-term solvency of the Social Security Trust Fund. Lawmakers warn that if Congress fails to act in the coming years, across-the-board cuts of 20% to 25%, could take effect once the trust funds begin running short. Seniors who depend entirely on their monthly checks are watching closely as debates continue. Some lawmakers are calling for increased taxes on high earners. Others want to raise the payroll cap. Still others are focused on benefit expansion. For seniors living paycheck to paycheck on Social Security, this debate isn't political, it's personal. As debates unfold, what remains clear is that millions of seniors across America are struggling. Many rely on Social Security for more than half their income, and some depend on it entirely. Rising inflation, soaring medical costs, and limited monthly benefits have created a financial reality where every dollar matters. The proposed legislation, whether it's the $200 increase, survivor benefit expansions, or COLA formula improvements, represents hope for those who feel the system has fallen behind their needs. Seniors are calling for real changes that protect the dignity and financial security they earned through decades of work. Whatever happens next, Truth Lens will continue breaking it down clearly so you always know what's happening with your benefits, your payments, and the policies shaping the future for seniors across America.